I don't sleep well anymore. Not because I can't, my body is always exhausted, but because I know what waits for me when I close my eyes. It started 2 weeks ago. At first I thought it was stress or maybe just the aftermath of too much caffeine. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, unable to move, a crushing weight pressing against my chest. People call it sleep paralysis, and I had read about it before. That made me feel better at first, like I could explain it away, but then it started watching me. The first night I noticed it, I thought my mind was playing tricks. I was frozen in bed, staring at the far corner of my room where the shadows gather. My eyes adjusted, and for just a moment I saw something darker than the dark itself. A figure crouched low, almost spider-like, its head tilted too far to the side, staring back at me. I couldn't scream. I couldn't even blink. I just watched as its head twitched and shifted, inching closer in those jerky, unnatural movements until my body finally broke free. The room was empty, but the feeling wasn't gone. Each night it comes back, and each night it gets bolder. Sometimes it sits at the edge of my bed, its weight sinking into the mattress so slightly I can feel the shift. Other times it leans down so close I can hear it breathing, not like a person, but like something imitating one, wet and uneven. Last night was the worst. I had fallen asleep, clutching my phone like a child holding a nightlight. At some point I woke up frozen again, staring at the ceiling, but something was different. I couldn't feel the blanket on me. I couldn't even feel the mattress beneath me. I was floating, not drifting and not rising, just hovering inches above the bed. I couldn't move my head, but out of the corner of my vision I saw it. The shadow crouched right beside me. Hands or claws, I don't really know, pressing against my stomach, lifting me as easily as if I were a doll. Its face was close to mine. A void that shimmered and rippled like smoke, and yet I could feel eyes inside of it. They were hungry and curious. Then it lowered its head to my ear. The sound it made wasn't a whisper, but I heard words all the same. You don't wake up anymore. I dropped back onto the bed, hard enough to jolt my breath loose. My phone clattered to the floor and my body broke free. I gasped like I had been drowning. I didn't dare move for the rest of the night. Now I'm sitting here with the lights on, writing this. My eyelids are heavy. I know I shouldn't fall asleep, but I can feel it waiting. I can feel the mattress shifting, like something crawling under the sheets beside me, curling close. And I'm terrified that the next time I wake up, if I wake up, I won't be in my bed anymore. The fear drives me to not want to sleep. Since that night, I can't sleep without drowning in panic first. I try. I lie down, close my eyes, count my breaths, but the moment the room grows quiet, I swear I hear it. The tick of the walls stretching, the groan of the floorboards, something breathing just slightly out of sync with me. I keep the lights on now. It doesn't help. The shadows don't need darkness anymore. They bend around the glow of the lamp, sliding into corners where they shouldn't exist. Sometimes I see shapes shift across the walls, long fingers dragging slowly towards my bed, and I tell myself I'm awake, but how can I be sure? My reflection in the mirror started moving last night, lagging behind when I tilted my head, smiling when I didn't. I don't trust my own eyes. The hallucinations are worse when I'm exhausted. Once I blinked at my phone screen, and for a second the letters rearranged themselves into the same phrase I heard whispered that night. You don't wake up anymore. I dropped the phone, but when I picked it up again, it was normal. The scariest part is how everything feels now. My skin tingles at random, like invisible hands brushing against me. Sometimes I swear I feel warm breath against the back of my neck. I spin around, desperate to catch it, but there's never anyone there. 2 nights ago I gave in. My body shut down. I didn't even remember falling asleep. I only knew because I woke up to the sound of scratching. Not in the walls, not at the window, from underneath my bed. Long and deliberate claws dragging against the wood, circling, waiting for me. And when I finally dared to look, lifting the blanket with shaking fingers, I didn't see emptiness. I saw a face. My own face, staring back at me from the shadows, eyes wide, lips stretched into a grin far too wide for my skin. I screamed myself awake. Or, I think I did. The problem is, lately, I don't know if I've been awake at all. Last night I decided I couldn't keep doing this. I told myself if I stayed awake long enough, maybe it would give up. Maybe it only had power when I slept. So I sat in bed with every light on, the TV blaring, my phone in my hand. I fought my eyelids every second, chugging coffee until my stomach burned. But at some point I must have slipped under. I don't remember falling asleep. I just remember opening my eyes and realizing the lights were off. The room was pitch black. My phone was gone. The static had stopped. I tried to move, but of course I couldn't. That crushing weight was back on my chest and heavier than ever. I couldn't see it at first, but I felt it leaning over me, its hands pressing me down, its breath soaking my cheek. And then, slowly, it lowered its face into mine, and I realized what it really looked like. It was me, not a shadow, not a creature, me, my face, rotted, pale, eyes sunken in black, my mouth stretched open like it was about to swallow my scream, and then it whispered again, "You don't wake up anymore." And when I jolted awake, if I even did, it was morning. My alarm was going off, the lights were on, everything looked normal, but I don't feel normal. I haven't moved from my bed all day. My body feels wrong, numb. I don't feel hunger or thirst anymore. I don't even feel my heartbeat. Maybe I really didn't wake up. Maybe I never will. He watched me every night. I used to feel safe in my apartment. It wasn't the nicest place, just a one-bedroom on the 3rd floor of a rundown building, but I liked it. I liked the creak of the old floorboards, the hum of the traffic outside, the way I could sit by the window with a cup of tea and people watch. But then I noticed him. At first it was harmless. I'd see the same man standing across the street at night smoking. He always wore a dark hoodie pulled low over his face. The first time I thought nothing of it. But then I saw him again the next night, and the night after that, always in the same spot, always facing my building. I laughed it off. Cities are full of weird people, right? But after the 4th night, I stopped laughing, because he wasn't just across the street anymore. He was closer, standing under the street lamp directly outside of my building, just staring at my window. I pulled the curtain shut. The next night I peeked out just to see if he was there. He was, but this time he was on my side of the street, still just standing and just watching. I tried to ignore him. I kept my curtains closed, turned up the TV, tried to drown out the crawling feeling under my skin, but then I started hearing things. Scraping sounds outside my door. The sound of someone slowly dragging their fingernails across the wood. Once, at 2 in the morning, I heard breathing on the other side. It was slow and it was heavy. When I looked through the peephole, the hallway was completely empty. I told myself I was imagining things, until the morning I left for work and found a folded piece of paper slid under my door. There was no writing, just a crude drawing of my apartment window and a stick figure standing outside of it. That's when I called the police. They came, looked around, and of course, no one was there. They told me, stay vigilant and make sure my locks were secure. I wanted to scream at them. He's here every night. He's watching me right now. But I didn't, because I was starting to feel like maybe they were right. Maybe it was all in my head. That night, I decided not to look. I sat on the couch with the TV on, trying to pretend everything was normal, but curiosity ate at me. Around midnight, I inched the curtain open just a sliver, and he was right there. Not across the street, not under the lamp, right below my window. His hood was down for the first time, and I saw his face. It was pale with wide eyes, a smile that stretched much too far. He tilted his head back and he waved at me. I dropped the curtain and crawled right into bed, shaking so hard I thought my teeth would crack. I've barely slept. When the sun rose, I told myself I'd pack a bag and leave, just for a few days. But when I walked to my car, my stomach dropped again. Every window, every inch of metal, it was all covered in greasy handprints. That was 3 nights ago. I haven't left since. I keep my lights off and my phone clutched in my hand. And I know he's still out there, because last night when I couldn't take the silence anymore, I pulled the curtain back one more time. He wasn't on the street. He wasn't under the lamp. He wasn't even in the parking lot. I ran around my building looking, and my worst fear came true. He was inside of my building, standing in the hallway across from mine, staring straight at my door, and he just smiled. It's been 2 days since then. I don't sleep anymore. Every creak in this apartment makes me jump. I shower with the door locked. I eat with one eye on the window, and I haven't opened my front door since. The police all think I'm overreacting. My friends don't come by anymore. And now the worst part is, he stopped showing himself. No shadows outside, no knocks at the door, no sound at all. And that's what terrifies me the most. Because at least when I could see him, I knew where he was. Now, I don't. The house where my grandparents forgot me. I hadn't visited my grandparents' farm in years. My parents kept telling me their minds weren't the same anymore. The dementia had settled in like a fog, but I didn't understand until I drove down that dirt road, watching their crooked old farmhouse appear out of the trees. The place just looked wrong. The shutters hung loose, the paint peeled, and the windows looked like dark, watching eyes. When I stepped inside, the air hit me first. It was heavy, sweet, but sour underneath like spoiled milk. My grandmother shuffled out of the kitchen, smiling much too wide, and she said, "Who are you?" "It's me, your granddaughter," I said. Her smile dropped, and she whispered, "No, you don't belong here." I laughed it off, thinking it was just her illness, but the way she stared at me like I was a stranger set something crawling in my stomach. Later at dinner, my grandfather mumbled under his breath while cutting his meat. His words were garbled, but one phrase was clear. "They're not supposed to be inside." I froze. "Who's not supposed to be inside?" I asked. He looked up at me, and for the first time, his eyes were sharp, lucid. He pointed his fork toward the ceiling. "The ones that crawl when we sleep." That night, I tried to rest in my mom's old childhood bedroom. The wallpaper was peeling, and the floorboards creaked with every step. At around 2 a.m., I heard it, the sound of nails dragging across the wood. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I thought it was Grandpa wandering, but when I peeked out into the hallway, the sound was coming from the ceiling. I pressed my ear against the plaster. Something was moving above me. It was slow. Then, fingers pushed through the cracks in the ceiling. Gray, bony fingers that bent the wrong way. I stumbled back. Heart was pounding. That's when I saw my grandmother at the end of the hallway. She was standing in the dark with her head tilted, watching me. Her voice was soft, childlike almost. "They told us not to let you in." I said, "What are you talking about?" She smiled with her teeth glinting in the dark. "They said you'd feed them." Behind her, the shadows on the wall began to shift. Long, crooked shapes stretched out, too tall to be human bodies. I bolted. I didn't grab my bag. I didn't even put on my shoes. I ran out of that house barefoot into the night, my grandparents' voices calling after me. They were warped and echoing, not quite human anymore. I didn't stop until I reached my car. When I looked back, the house windows were glowing faintly, like dozens of eyes staring at me. I've never gone back, but sometimes, at night, when the house is quiet and I'm almost